Welcome to Censored but Not Silenced. I'm Rebecca Koffler, and this is your intelligence briefing for Monday, April 25th, 2022, on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We are in day 60 of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, a sovereign country. Having failed at his plan A, which was to topple Kiev and decapitate the Zelensky's government, installing a pro-Russian puppet regime, Putin has moved on to plan B. What is plan B? He is now going after eastern Ukraine in the attempt to build the land bridge between the Crimean Peninsula, which Putin has annexed in 2014, and the Donbass area, going possibly after Odessa in their attempt to secure access to the Black Sea and potentially turning Ukraine into a landlocked country. This is the plan. Putin has less than 2 weeks to work with because he inserted an artificial timeline into his military strategy. May 9th, the Victory Day parade is a major holiday for the Russians. This year, Russia will be celebrating the 77th anniversary of the Soviet Army's victory over Nazi Germany. This war is called by the Russians the Great Patriotic War, in which they lost 20 million people. Traditionally, this parade is a symbol of Russia's military might. So Putin is going to do everything possible in order to claim some sort of victory. The key takeaway here is that despite all of the tactical mishaps and the overall abysmal performance of Russia's military, Putin is still achieving his goal. Remember, the key reason for Putin's invasion of Ukraine is to prevent it from joining NATO. As long as he continues this war, even if he turns it into a grinding, protracted battle, and eventually into a frozen conflict, he has achieved his goal of preventing Ukraine from joining NATO. One of the key requirements for NATO membership is absence of an active conflict, territorial integrity, and sovereignty. On the US front, the Biden administration has made another major diplomatic faux pas, which will likely have a disastrous consequence. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, having visited Kiev recently with Antony Blinken, has finally admitted that it is US policy to degrade Russia militarily and weaken it. Why is this a big deal? The Russians, for years, have been suspecting that the ultimate goal of the United States is just that, to degrade Russia's military and to weaken it in order to potentially stage regime change, which would lead to the collapse of the state, similar to the demise of the former USSR, which the Russians blame on the United States. Not on the inefficiencies of the Soviet socialist system, but yes, on the actions of the United States. So the Biden administration rhetoric is just confirming exactly what the Russians have been suspecting for decades, coupled with other rhetoric that is coming out of the White House, such as Putin is a war criminal, which he is. Putin is committing the genocide, which he is, but it's one thing to think that and to speak about it at the dinner table. And it's quite another to speak about it publicly, which then is interpreted by the Russians as the official US government policy. The result is going to be just further escalation of Putin targeting Ukraine with catastrophic strikes on civilians, as well as military targets. Putin is desperately rushing to meet his deadline. He's also gravely concerned about the US and NATO's potential intervention in this conflict. Because if there's one thing that Putin fears, it's the might of US military. Specifically, the Russian forces view themselves as conventionally inferior. And therefore, Putin is now mulling over options to cross the nuclear threshold. It is specifically for this scenario that on Putin's orders, a highly sophisticated nuclear warfare strategy was developed called escalate to de-escalate. Fearing the defeat, that is certainly a possibility in the conventional realm, as long as we continue to provide weaponry to Ukraine. That is what Putin fears. And so it's driving him to further ratchet up his actions, potentially unleashing WMD strikes, which can include both nuclear and chemical, as well as an EMP strike, electromagnetic spectrum type of attack. And by the way, the Iskander missile, Iskander M, which is highly versatile, which includes 6 and up warheads, conventional, nuclear, earthbuster, and an EMP warhead. This missile has recently been moved by the Russian military closer to the Ukrainian border. So that is the potential missile that may be used in further escalatory attacks by Russia. When it comes to Zelensky's strategy, he's quite inventive. His primary instrument has been his masterful use of modern technology, specifically social media, to shame the Western leadership and hypnotize the Western world in order to garner support for his country to continue the fight. He's been able to secure recently $800 million in military assistance that includes highly sophisticated weaponry. In addition, it looks like the Ukrainians have been conducting sabotage operations very successfully, targeting oil depots in Russia proper, close to the Ukrainian border. So this is your briefing for today. I'm Rebecca Koffler, a former DIA intelligence officer and expert on Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia. I'm the author of a new book, Putin's Playbook, Russia's Secret Plan to Defeat America. Please pick up your own copy. I also wrote a foreword of another book that just came out on April 19th called Zelensky, the Unlikely Ukrainian Hero Who United the World and Defied Putin. If you like this video, please subscribe. Visit my website, RebeccaKoffler.com, and follow me on Twitter Rebecca0132, and also on Getter at Rebecca0132. Thank you. Until next time.